3 years ago, I had an unexpected trip to Mexico. It was the first time I was traveling out of the country alone, and it was also my first time stepping outside since COVID. Apart from being enclosed for a whole month, I was unable to see the sun as the color orange clouded my windows due to the massive wildfires that were occurring all over California during this time. So now, after a long time of feeling isolated from the world, I'm stepping onto the plane. And as the plane starts taking off, I started to see the many layers of smoke that were confined in my surroundings. Then all of a sudden, it's as if the plane bursts through the cloud of toxins, and for the first time, I could see the color of the clear blue sky, the clouds, and the sun, bringing both hope and freedom. And as I'm looking outside the window within the quietness of the plane, with no Wi-Fi, no cellular service, I began to feel inspired, thinking about all the things that I hope to learn and achieve throughout this trip. And as I'm having all of these thoughts in my head, I was missing something, a place to let it all out. So then I remembered I had just bought a small journal before my trip, initially intending only to use this for class notes, without thinking that this notebook was going to revolutionize my journey through Mexico and the many journeys to come. So I began to write everything that I was longing for. I wrote down freedom, strength, surrender, and the ability to heal my inner child. So for the next 6 months, I carried my journal almost everywhere as a reminder of my purpose and goals. And by the end of my journey, I was able to look back on all the amazing things I had learned, and I found that I had achieved everything I wrote down that day, and so much more. And it was then that I discovered the power of handwriting down my goals. So as we continue to move more and more towards a digital age, handwriting things down on paper has almost become lost. Yet in doing so, we might be giving up on one of the most critical components to aid in our success, and that is utilizing the power of handwriting as a tool to accomplish our goals. So today, I'll be going over the benefits of handwriting, and later on, how you can apply this concept to start writing down your goals. So let's first take a look at the benefits of handwriting things down. Studies show that the simple act of handwriting down your goals can have a profound effect on the likelihood of achieving them. Dr. Gail Matthews, a psychology professor from the Dominican University of California, conducted a study on goal setting. She had one of her group of students visualize her goals, while the other group not only visualized their goals, but also wrote them down. Well, it turns out the group who visualized their goals achieved twice as much of their goals compared to the group who did not write. Now, how does this all happen? Well, research shows us that there's actually a mind-to-hand-to-paper effect. Because when you write, it activates the brain's sensory experiences through tactile, visual, and auditory components. And this enhances both your learning and your memory while increasing the ability to actively remember your goals. And these kinds of feedback from mind to hand to paper are significantly different than those we receive when touching or typing on a keyboard. Now, typing may be faster than writing by hand, but it's less stimulating for the brain. So scientists recorded the brain activity of 20 undergraduate students during a word activity, finding that handwriting activates the entire brain when forming letters by hand as compared to typing. So the next time you have a thought or intention and are getting ready to write, you can envision it traveling down your hands within your sensory neurons and bringing that vision to life the moment your hand and pen touch that surface of the paper. Now, many times we have great ideas and thoughts that just circle around in our heads, never finding a still place to become more than just a thought. That is why writing offers you the opportunity to bring those thoughts and dreams to life. And of course, it's fast to type directly on your computer or on your phone, but convenience, even in this world, is not everything. Because convenience teaches us to rely on something else rather than ourselves. So sometimes when I write, I start feeling impatient as I'm so used to the fast-paced environment that I live in. But that is why writing basically forces you to sit down with your thoughts and be present. And it is until you slow your pace down that you end up seeing more, you end up feeling more, and most of all, you end up being here instead of there. So let's not sacrifice handwriting for the sake of technology's convenience. And by slowing our pace down, it can actually start to create a state of clarity. Because when you write, you have to organize your thoughts and actually put them into words. And this clarity can help you stay focused and also make better decisions. In fact, a research study found that when individuals handwrote for only 20 minutes about their thoughts and opinions, they exhibited superior mental clarity compared to those who did not write. Additionally, this can be helpful for people who struggle with mental health conditions like anxiety or ADHD, as it helps them to focus on one task at a time, promote clarity, and most of all, allow them to find the courage within their hearts to open up while writing. In fact, writing is so critical to our learning and development that at the start of this year, 2024, the state of California reinstated the requirement to learn how to handwrite in cursive for all first through sixth graders in public schools. Now, clearly, there is power in handwriting your goals, but it's also important to consider how you write them down. And this starts with choosing our environment. It's important to choose a personal and quiet environment for you to write down your goals. Many of the most influential writers are guided through their inner voice by the quiet space they make to listen to it. For me, this was a pivotal moment in the plane where for once I had found the stillness within me amidst the chaos and destruction that was happening all around me. Now, once you find the right environment, select a meaningful medium to write down your goals, such as a notebook or a notepad or anything that really brings out your personality and adds value into your life. That way, you create a personal connection with your notebook so that every time you see it at the corner of your room or it's in your hand, you are instantly able to align yourself back with your goals and have an increase in motivation. And to go even more in depth, even the type of pen you use is important because research indicates that the feel, the sound, and even the pressure of the pen against the paper impacts your brain's encoding process and mood. So my recommendation is pick out your favorite notebook, pick out your favorite pen, and find what styles work best for you. So now that you have your environment, you have your notebook, and you have your favorite pen, it's time to really think about what you want to write. And this starts with choosing our time frame. A great way to do this is actually by utilizing the fresh start effect that states you are more likely to have an increase in motivation at the start of a time period. So you can consider using the start of a new year, a new season, or even personal milestones like getting a new job or starting school to set achievable goals. In my case, I utilize the start of every year to choose a different intention for each notebook and start the year off fresh. And in choosing our goals, we must remember to really look inwards, to have a clear understanding of what we want and what we will bring into life when writing. Another good way to enhance your goals is by simply adding an action verb at the beginning of your goal. These action verbs can be like achieve, create, or lead. So for example, instead of saying have a new resume, you can transmute the goal into create a new resume. And with this simple change in verbiage, it can propel your goals even further. Now, after handwriting our goals, it's important to come back to them as often as you can, so they really remain ingrained in your subconscious mind. To make it easier for you, you can try placing your notebook or notepad somewhere close, so that every time that you see it, you're able to connect back with your goals. It's like when we learn a new word, then all of a sudden you start hearing it everywhere. Well, our goals work in the same way. The more we see them, the more our brain actively searches for those opportunities to align us with our goals. And the thing is, our opportunities to meet our goals are always there. But our ability to spot them depends on our mindset and our perspective. So review your goals every day, every morning if you can, and you'll be surprised by the outcome. There's actually a quote that I really like by the Roman philosopher Seneca that states, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." So by having our goals in mind, writing them down on paper to bring them to life, and actively reviewing them, that is more preparation than we'll ever need. Now, coming back to my personal story on discovering the power of handwriting, I was amazed by the simple action that this had made on my life trajectory, that I continued to implement this every year following that. Around the time I had filled up my first notebook, a new year was coming along, and I thought, why not buy a new notebook and start the year off fresh? But this time, with more intention, I focused on what this year really meant for me. So I even picked out the color purple that went along with my essence of the year and my personal goals. And with more structure this time, I divided up my goals by two different sections, personal and professional. And after writing down my goals, I placed my little notebook next to my bed so that when morning came, I could view them every single day. That's when I soon began to see the magical benefits of handwriting down my goals. One of my most memorable goals was when I had intentionally written I wanted an internship that aligned with my career prospects and purpose in life at the beginning of the year 2022. Prior to this, I had been applying to many internships, and it was hard to get accepted. But then about 3 months from the time I had written down my goal, somehow the process of reaching it accelerated. That's when I received an email where I was accepted to work at a national internship for the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. I couldn't believe my goal that I actually had written down had came to life. It almost felt like magic, and it only reinforced my belief in handwriting. So with my story in mind, I encourage you to pick up your pen and start writing. Use the power of handwriting your goals to achieve all you've ever wanted and more. Thank you. All right.